Hello everyone, this is Goosebumps Godzilla, and today I'm going to be talking about how the haunted car not only is itself haunted, but it's also alive. So, before I continue with that though, I just want to say that there are going to be spoilers for the haunted car. We're going to be delving into major plot points like the origins of the car and its weaknesses and all that. So, if you haven't read The Haunted Car, then I would advise you to not watch this video and maybe watch it after you read the book. But besides that, there's really no huge warnings I would give you for this theory. But actually, guys, let's get into that theory. That was kind of worded weird, but, let's get started with the topic of my video. So, the origins of the haunted car was that some girl, I forgot her name, basically drove the car even though she was too young to drive a car, and got involved with, I think, a car accident, leading to her death. And so, I think because she died young, she haunts the car. It's a little weird on her motivation to becoming a ghost. Like most ghosts have unfinished business, but the ghost in the haunted car really is just upset because she died young. It's a little strange, but that's besides the point. So basically, her father is very depressed over this and wants to sell the car for sentimental reasons. And so this leads to our main protagonist finding the car and telling their dad to buy the car because their most recent car got in a car accident. I don't think it was a car accident, it just got wrecked. So they buy the car and odd stuff keeps going on. And one thing to note for later on in the video is that the haunted car is supposed to be in perfect condition. I'll talk about that later, but just keep note of that. So basically, creepy stuff is going on with the car. Like, the main protagonist, again, I say, is obsessed with cars, so he keeps trying to get inside the car and, just testing it out. But then weird stuff keeps going on, like the car doors lock itself. And I do not remember exactly, I haven't read the book in like 2 months or so, but I'm almost 100% sure that the main protagonist gets locked in the car and they turn on the music, but, just creepy stuff gets going on. And so now the main protagonist is like mind-controlled into going into the car. It's really cool and all that stuff, but in one scene, he's locked inside the car and the car drives itself away from the house, and so basically we are then revealed our main villain, which is the ghost that I talked about earlier. And so basically she wants the main protagonist to die so that she won't be lonely inside the car because, it's, I guess, lonely being a ghost. And so then they drive back to the house. So, the ghost person's about to kill the kid, but then it's revealed that the main protagonist's house got burnt down to the ground. And so, apparently, this ghost is defeated because it did a good deed. And so, this causes the ghost to disappear. I think its face melts off or something like that. But one thing leads to another. The ghost is defeated, and because it did a good deed, since the house was burning down, and practically saved the kid's life. So, that's pretty much how the book ends. There is a twist ending. It's really not that crazy as, some other twist endings in Goosebumps are. But basically, it's revealed that the car had no battery inside of it. Meaning that the ghost was powering the car throughout the book in every single scene. And so that was pretty much the end of the book. Sorry that was a little, I think, over in depth since, now it's 4 minutes long and I've just finished talking about the book and haven't even gotten started in my theory, but basically, my theory is that the car itself is alive. I know it's haunted, but the car itself is alive, and I think is responsible for the death of the ghost person in the beginning of the book, and here is why. And so, the first bit of evidence is that the car's design constantly changes. It changes throughout many different variations, and in the cover art, there's one thing to note right here in the haunted car and the haunted car reprint cover art is that the car changes. So in the book, the car is described, to look like a normal car with no eye-like things and stuff like that. But then we take a look at the Tim Jacobus cover art, and we see the car pretty much has teeth, has a nose, and has eyes, with the eyes even having veins. It's not like it can easily be confused for headlights. The thing has veins in its eyes. It's got people. So it pretty much kind of says that the car is alive. Also, if you take a look at the cover art for the reprint, you can see this as well, with the car like opening its mouth with teeth and all that stuff. So that is a huge piece of evidence to support this theory. And also, you can see in the Goosebumps film, the car changes its design. I do not remember the different types. In Goosebumps Wiki, they did show what type of car the one was in the haunted car and the one that was in the Goosebumps film. I cannot remember, but the design changes, which is a little strange. And, and it's weird that the design of the car changes and the cover art than it is in the book. So, that's a little strange, but you might say the explanation of this is because the ghost haunts a car and makes the car do whatever it wants. But there's something off about that. So, basically, the car is haunted by a ghost. So, wouldn't it be the same thing for a haunted house? How come haunted houses in the Goosebumps universe do not change to fit the ghost's benefit? I mean, what kind of ghost would want to live in, a totally run-down, torn-up house? I mean, I don't get any ghost that would want that to happen. And if they could transform the haunted house into anything they want, wouldn't they do that? Or, for example, a more specific one is from ghost camp. Say the ghost camp ghosts are in there and they want to expand the area that they haunt. Wouldn't they just expand it so then they could meet their goal, which I'm not going to talk about because I said there wasn't going to be any spoilers for the book. So just all of these things are popping through my head. So what makes this ghost so different from pretty much every single ghost in Goosebumps that it can manipulate how the car looks and honestly change design? Also in the Goosebumps film, if you want to discount the different types of cars, they have a sign that says, "I'm evil" in front. The main protagonist definitely should have noted that if it was in the book, because, the main protagonist did notice a slip of paper that said, "I'm evil." Why wouldn't it notice, this sign? I don't know if it was the exact words, "I'm evil," on the car. It was something along those lines, though. And so, you may be like, okay, fine, the cover stuff like that, but even if you do not accept that as evidence, then just take a look at the book itself. So, remember the haunted car, how it became haunted was that the girl got in a car wreck. But then remember in the book, it says that the car was in perfect condition. So, how could the car just automatically heal itself? It seems like, because she died in an accident, so most likely the car itself would be damaged as well, especially if someone died in the accident, because, most of the time car accidents are not that brutal, but the car is not damaged at all. That's just very strange, and it leads to two possibilities. Either one, it proves that the car itself is alive, and that's how it changes itself, because the car itself is alive. If the car can change itself because the car itself is alive, if you know what I mean. And so it's not the ghost. And so evidence to prove this from the book, as I said, is the car accident thing, and it led to two options. And that is, first, the car killed the main protagonist, and it not the main protagonist, it didn't kill the main protagonist, it killed that ghost girl inside the car. And that's how it happened. Or the car got involved in an accident, but the car just healed itself and intentionally created the accident. I don't know, that's two different opinions, but either way, it does prove that the car itself is alive. It's not only haunted, it has a mind of its own, because of just the cover art and how the car just keeps changing. It has mouths. It changes in both the reprint cover art and the other cover art. It changes in the film. I think it changes in Horror Town, and, just the design constantly changes. But it would make sense if the car itself is alive, because then it could influence itself to change into anything it wanted. And so here's the second bit of evidence that I want to talk about, and that is the ghost's weakness. So, according to the book, if the ghost does a good deed, then it is dead. And so that would mean in the end of the book that the car itself is no longer scary. It no longer is dangerous of any kind. But I have something to disprove that. And you can just take a look at it in the Goosebumps film. In the Goosebumps film, the car is driving Slappy across the town, which technically would mean that he's helping Slappy. And according to the ghost of Slappy, helping Slappy for a ghost would count as a good deed. So, if the ghost commits a good deed, then it is dead. So, how come the car is driving Slappy all across the town, which is technically helping him, and it itself stops driving by itself? How come the car is still driving, yet it is still not dead, and it is doing a good deed? So, how is this happening at all? Also, if you want to discount the Goosebumps film, you can take a look at Goosebumps, the game. In the game, you can actually use that as a car. I played it. It's a really fun game. Totally recommend it. But in one of the helpful cards, it has the haunted card, which I think moves you up a couple of spaces. I can't remember the exact number. I think maybe it's 2, but it moves you up a couple of spaces, which is itself helping the player. So, how can the car still drive you if the ghost itself is defeated? And if the car doesn't have a mind of its own, is itself alive? How is the car still driving? How is it supposed to help you? Why would it help you? And there's just all these different things going on that totally, is kind of strange. But say you discount the board game and Goosebumps, the film. You can tell from the book itself. Remember the twist ending that I talked about, how the ghost had... I'm not the ghost, but the car had no batteries. So, that would mean that every time the dad and stuff like that drove the car, then that would mean that, I'm sorry guys, so basically, if the dad was driving the car, then that would count as a good deed, correct? Since the ghost is powering the car to make the dad and stuff like that go from place to place, then, how is the car not dead? Because that is doing a good deed, helping that guy get from place to place. So, how is that not count as a good deed? How is the ghost still alive at the end of the book unless the living car itself was driving them there from place to place? And so, that's that. And also, I think the whole time the car was created, it was alive, because even in the accident part when the girl was killed, it would make sense that the car still had no batteries even in that scene, because the dad, whose daughter died in the car accident, and, the ghost girl's dad, he was deeply distressed about the thing. He just wanted to get rid of the car, so he sold it for a ridiculously cheap price. And so I think he seems like an honest salesman at this time. So when he, be like trying to tell everyone about the car, like even the fact that, it had no batteries, and even if he wasn't an honest salesman, he was just trying to scam them, when he even looked surprised that the car started during the test drive, how the car drove out of there at all, So that would mean also that because of sentimental reasons, he probably never touched the car. So that means during this whole entire book, even events that, were before the book, before he actually knew what was going on, the car had absolutely no batteries. Which means that even when the ghost girl wasn't even in the car was still alive. But anyway, guys, comment down below what you guys think about this theory. Do you think that the haunted car is alive, or do you think that it's been haunted by a ghost of some kind? But anyway, guys, comment down below what you guys think about this theory. And that is the end of the, theory about the haunted car.